Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Elise Hernandez, and I am super excited to start this 6-week master class with you. And so over the course of the next 6 weeks, we're going to dive in deep into the immune system. We're going to talk about cancer. We're going to talk about the tools that you need and the actions that you need to take to make sure that you and your family are protected and to make sure that you just have healthy, a long, healthy life for the rest of your life. And so a little bit about myself before we get started. I'm going to share my screen with you here. I always like to tell people I became a chiropractor when I was 15. And so when I was 15, my grandfather, who I loved more than anything in life, moved in with my family because his health was so bad he couldn't take care of himself anymore. And so I saw a man who was larger than life to me really deteriorate almost overnight. And what started as back pain for him ended up in kidney failure and liver failure. And every single time something went wrong with his health, the only thing I ever saw given to him was a pill. Until pill after pill after pill after pill, 14 medications later, my grandpa is in a hospital bed with tubes coming out of him everywhere. And that's my last memory of him before he died. At no point did any doctor ever sit down and ask the question, what was causing his health issues? Because if they did that, his life would have been a little bit different. And so that's what you want to look for. If you're not a current patient in our office, if you're a guest who's on the line here today, your doctor should be asking what is causing your problems. And if they get down to the root cause and we can remove that cause, that is how the body is able to heal overall. And so we started our office 5 years ago, really with the mission of having less pharmacies and seeing more farmers markets, of people taking less medications and seeing more meditation and more happiness overall, of seeing less hospital days, of having more gym days, of having less sick days and more family days. And so the goal of this 6-week masterclass is for you to walk out of this feeling like you are a master in your health and feeling like you can explain this to anybody that you talk to. So let's dive into things here. So where are we at? In order to know where we're going, we have to know where we are. And I think we realize we're in the most dire situation we've ever been in when it comes to health. The number one killer right now is heart disease. It kills 750,000 people every single year. Number two is cancer. Cancer kills 500,000 people every single year. The American Cancer Society within the past several years has come out and said your chances of having cancer as a man in this country, living the way the average American male lives, is 1 in 2. Your chances of getting cancer living the way the average American woman lives is 1 in 3. And over the past 2 or 3 decades, these numbers only continue to rise every single year, despite the fact that we have more doctors than we've ever had as a nation. We have more medications, we have more hospitals, we have more research, and yet chronic disease is only on the rise. And so when it comes to our health as a nation, we are truly failing. And that's one of the biggest reasons that we decided to do this masterclass. You know, we look at the state of the union right now. We look at what's going on with the coronavirus, not just within the United States, but even worldwide. I was at the airport not too long ago, and I took this picture. And so it just astounds me that we're so into something like a mask. Like we think a mask is going to protect us from getting the coronavirus. So every single person in this line is wearing a mask, and yet look where they're walking into. They're going into a place that's going to serve them cancer-killing foods, a place that has a ton of sugar, a ton of bad fats. And so our focus right now, wherever you stand on the mask issue, that's not really my point. My point is our focus is wrong. We're not focusing on how to strengthen our bodies and how to help our bodies to protect ourselves from any virus, not just the coronavirus. We're taking an outside-in approach, and we're saying, let me protect myself with a mask. What are we going to do? Wear masks for the rest of our lives? Like it's not a long-term solution. The long-term solution is building health from the inside out and understanding that that is possible. And so There's so much to be said for the model of health within which we live. And most people, including myself, we grow up in this reactive model, and that's where the masks come from. It's a reactive model where we wait for something to go wrong, and then we address the problem. And we have to get out of that reactive model. And so the medical model is largely reactive, right? You look good, you feel good, you sit at home, you eat your bonbons, Fritos, Doritos, you do not exercise, you're good to go. It is only when you get a symptom that you seek out, essentially help. But the problem is with the medical model, the only thing that they know is cut, poison, and burn. And so that's why you go to your typical doctor's office, and no matter what you have, they run some tests and you tend to walk out with a pill. And unfortunately, just because of the way our medical model is structured, you end up taking that pill for the rest of your life. And so there's no true question as to what the root cause is of issues. And so it is way easier to maintain your health than it is to regain it. And so if you're somebody who has absolutely no symptoms at all, you want to be proactive in your health, especially if you're young. The more that you take care of yourself now, the easier things are going to be when you're 40, 50, 60 years old. And so the reactive model is, the proactive model is what we teach within our office. And so it's taking care of your mindset. It's taking care of what you're feeding your body, what you're fueling your body with. It's exercising, it's detoxing, and it's taking care of your nervous system. If you're somebody who is suffering right now with chronic conditions, just know that your body is made to heal 100% of the time, as long as we provide the right environment. So it's never too late to start healing your body so that we can get to that point where everything is good and then prevent. And so there's a couple different theories that we're going to go through within this 6-week masterclass that the medical system tends to be founded on. The first one is the gene theory. So I hear this all the time. People ask me, Dr. Elise, they say, but what about my genes? Like, my mom had breast cancer, my aunt had breast cancer, I am destined to get breast cancer. It's just a part of my genes. There's nothing I can do about it. And so while that was a commonly held belief a few decades ago, what we're recognizing now is we have control over the expression of our genes. And so while we might not have control over whether or not we have a gene within our DNA, the expression of the genes is based on how we live. So you can look at genetic expression almost like a light switch. You can literally turn genes on or off. And so this branch of science that's fairly new is called epigenetics. And so epigenetics shows us that we have control. And so this diagram right here talks about how your DNA is kind of made up. And so your DNA is huge. And so if you were to spread out your DNA from beginning to end, just what's going on in one piece of DNA, it would literally go from here to the moon and back again. And so your body is so intelligent that it has to take all of that information and has to put it in a tiny, tiny, tiny little cell. And so what it does is it ends up coiling the information around different proteins within your DNA. And altogether, that whole unit is called a nucleosome. And so what happens through the decisions that you make within your life, how you're eating, how you're moving, how you're thinking, how you're detoxing, you can end up getting histones that, methyl groups that attach to part of the histone that actually uncoil the DNA and allow that DNA to be expressed. Or when it's demethylated, it will coil back up again and it will not allow that gene to be expressed. And so the key to all of this is, again, just understanding that you have control over whether or not genes are expressed. So this is a very interesting video that I suggest that you go and you look at. It is a research study that looked at what they call the agouti mouse. And so agouti just means brown. And so if you look at the mouse here on the right-hand side, the mouse on the right-hand side is a normal mouse fed normal mouse chow. Okay. When you look at the mouse on the left-hand side, this is a mouse who was not given what it needed through the pregnancy and in the first part of its life. And with that, it developed traits of a sick mouse. It became a mouse that was obese and overweight. It became a mouse that wasn't able to regulate its blood sugar. And so all of that these are genetically identical mice that you're seeing. And these mice came from the same mother, have the same genes. The only difference between the two is the environment. It's the lifestyle that mouse had that determined the outcome. And so again, your genes are not your destiny. What's more important than your genes is the decisions that you're making within your health. And so you look at the reactive model versus the proactive model when it comes to the cost. And so, sometimes people say, hey, Dr. Elise, it costs so much money to be healthy. And I get that. It is an investment in your health in order to have health overall. But what costs way more money than being healthy is waiting for yourself to get sick. And so the average monthly cost, if you get cancer and you're going through chemo, is anywhere from $1,000 to $12,000. The average yearly cost of diabetes is almost $10,000. That's type 2 diabetes, a disease that is 100% reversible based on the way that you're treating your body overall. And so it saves you money in the long run to invest in your health, to buy the good quality foods, to get a gym membership, to have the chiropractic care. This is the definition of insanity. And so the CDC says eliminating just 3 things within your health overall, eliminating changing, I should say, having a good diet instead of a poor diet, actually exercising instead of having inactivity, and completely quitting smoking prevents heart disease and stroke by 80%, diabetes by 80%, cancer by 40%. Those are astronomical numbers. And that is just by changing how you're eating, how you're moving, and cutting out smoking. Imagine if you added in lifetime chiropractic care. Imagine if you added in having a good mindset. Imagine if you were detoxing your lives. How much more could we impact these statistics and all other chronic disease that we see on a regular basis? And so again, I just want to empower you that you have control over your health and over your life. And so what we want to focus on is the health model. We want to focus on defining health in a very specific way. And so most people base their health on 2 things. They base their health on how they look and how they feel. So again, they say, I wake up in the morning, I feel good, therefore I am healthy. But we know that feeling is not health, because you can look good and you can feel good and still be developing cancer, diabetes, heart disease. In fact, it takes on average 10 years of cancer developing in the body before there's ever a sign or symptom, before it's ever detectable on advanced imaging or blood work. Alzheimer's is fascinating. It's 15 to 25 years of plaques developing in the brain before there's ever a sign of memory loss. And so what that means is by the time you feel something, it's usually too late. And so we don't want to wait until we're feeling something within our health. Instead, a better definition of health is how you're functioning. Physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, true health is function in your body. And I think that makes sense when you think about it. Imagine your heart beating at 100% function, your lungs breathing at 100%, your stomach taking in nutrients, getting rid of waste at 100% function. If you had 100% function in your body, you would be 100% healthy. Cancer does not exist at 100% function. Heart disease does not exist at 100% function. But the challenge is, does anyone exist at 100% function? And the answer to that is, of course, no. But that's our goal. Our goal is to be here at 100% function. And it's important to know that, because a goal defined is one we can reach. The other end of that spectrum is 0%. What if your heart, your liver, your lungs, your pancreas are functioning at 0%? You're dead, right? So notice that health over here isn't when you're feeling good, and death isn't when you're feeling bad. It's not about feeling, it's about function. But where does feeling fit into that? How much function do you think you have to lose before you feel something? Research tells us you lose an average of 40% function. You get down to 60% function loss. 40% function loss, 60% function before you feel the first symptom, before you'll ever know that there's a problem in your heart or your lungs or your digestive organs or your reproductive organs. That is exactly why we cannot base our health on how we feel. We must start to base our health on how we're functioning. And that's what the 5 essentials is about and what we're teaching here during this masterclass. So what heals you? If I took a freshly dead body, the cadaver, okay, and I have that right next to me right here, and I cut that cadaver, okay, it has freshly dead, like just died, okay, it has all of the molecules that I have inside of me, okay, in theory, it has, all of the things that it needs to heal. Would that cut, if I cut that body, would it heal? And the answer is no. Why? Because what heals you? It is not the molecules inside of you that heal you. What heals you is the innate power within. And so there is a universal intelligence that exists around us. It is what takes a tiny little seed and makes it into an oak tree, right? It is what, gives life to little animals and our dogs. It's what gives life to us. And we go through life and let's say in the formation of a baby, you have 2 cells that come together and they multiply into 100 trillion cells that are eating, breathing, pooping, laughing, you. And in no part during that does any human need to come in and say, grow a foot, grow a foot, grow a foot, grow a foot, or grow a hand, grow a hand, grow a hand, grow a hand, or grow a liver, grow a liver, grow a liver, grow a liver. Right? There's no instructions. There's just a power within us that forms us and it heals us. And that power is always present as long as you're alive. That is the power that heals you. It's the coolest part about chiropractic. It's my favorite part about chiropractic is that we seek to harness the power that's already within you, your God-given potential within you to allow you to heal. If you're developing chronic disease, if you're in pain, if you're on medications, if you have any health issues, your body still has the ability to heal. There's just some sort of interference within that healing capacity. If we can remove that interference, we can allow your body to heal again. It's like having a garden hose that has a kink in it and the water can't get through. If we unkink it and the water can get through again, guess what? The hose works again. And so that's the idea behind healing your body overall. And so BJ Palmer, who's the developer of chiropractic, he said this. He said, the beauty about chiropractic is the fact that it works with natural means. It puts nothing new into the body, nor does it take away any natural gland or organ. Chiropractic simply releases life forces within the body, sets free rivulets of energy over nerves, and lets nature do her work in a normal manner. That is the idea of chiropractic. And so when we look at what impedes our ability to heal, the first thing we have to look at is our nervous system. And so your nervous system is the most important system in your body for one reason. It controls everything. And so your brain sends messages down your spinal cord across all of your nerves to every single cell, tissue, and organ in your body. So in order for your heart to beat or your lungs to breathe or for you to hear me right now as you're listening to this masterclass, your brain has to communicate with your body and your body back to your brain. For that to happen, there's a normal alignment that needs to be in your spine because your spine surrounds and protects your spinal cord and all of those nerves. So that alignment, as you know, is straight up and down from front to back with even hips. And you should have 3 curves in your spine from the side, all at 45 degrees. So you should have a curve right here in your neck, one in your upper back, and then one all the way in your lower back. Now, what happens is when those bones shift out of alignment, it starts a degenerative process called subluxation. Subluxation damages the nerves. And what happens, just like that garden hose, the water can't get through. The healing power of your body is unable to get through. And with that, your body can no longer adapt to its environment. When there's a lack of adaptation or a lack of healing over time, that is the root cause of health conditions and disease overall. And so a subluxation is damage in the nerves that doesn't allow the communication to get through. And with that, that leads to dysfunction. Dysfunction over time always leads to disease, and disease leads to early death of cells. And so what causes subluxation within your spine? There's 3 things that affect the ability of your nervous system to function. Number 1, emotional stress. How many people in the last week have felt emotionally stressed, right? Every single one of us. We are more stressed than we've ever been in our entire lives. I read an article a couple years back that said we take in more information in one day than the average person did in the 1700s in their lifetime. We are in information overload with technology and social media, and just with stress from work and school and relationships, and of living up to this cultural standard that we've set with ourselves, especially as Americans. And so emotional stress is huge. The second one is physical stress. And so physical stress comes from, of course, things like slips, falls, traumas. But the thing that we don't think about as much is repetitive postures and motions. So somebody who's sitting at a desk all day like this, or looking down at our cell phones and our technology, or a heavy purse on a shoulder, or bending, lifting, twisting, somebody who has a very physical job, somebody who's driving for long periods of time. That physical stress affects our spines greatly and causes that inability to heal. The very last thing is chemical stresses. We are in the most toxic world we've ever been in as a population. In fact, there's a study that I'll share with you a couple of master classes from now by the Environmental Working Group that shows our chemical stress at birth is astronomical. We have about 168 chemicals just within umbilical cord blood from our mothers, many of them known neurotoxins, known carcinogens. And so all of these three things together cause dis-ease, a lack of ease within the body, and that over time leads to health issues. And so over the next 6 weeks, here's what we're going to do. This week is breaking down the 5 essentials. Next week, we're going to talk all about viruses, what you need to know about your immune system, and how to enhance or support your immune system, especially during the flu season, especially during this coronavirus season that we're going through. Week 3, we're going to talk all about cancer, everything you need to know about cancer and why cancer is actually a survival mechanism. Week 4, we're going to dive deep into the nervous system. So what does subluxation actually do on a neurological level to your health and your body overall? Week 5, we're going to talk about nutrition and detoxification. We're going to give you a full pantry refrigerator makeover of what you need to know with how you're eating and what you need to know with what's in like your bathroom and what you're cleaning your house with. And then week 6 is all about fitness. So we're going to talk all about your workouts, how to maximize your workouts so that they're fun, be efficient, and they help you to achieve the goal that you want, to balance hormones and to lose weight and to feel good about yourself overall. And so the 5 essentials that we teach in our office, number 1 is core chiropractic. Number 2 is nutrition. Number 3 is mindset. Number 4 is exercise. And number 5 is detoxing. And so when we talk about core chiropractic, why is it important? I always like to say your nervous system is kind of like the electrical system in your body. In your home, the electrical system in your home. So all of the wires that go throughout your home that go to like a plug, okay? If that wire that's supplying that plug isn't working and the electricity can't get through, what happens when you plug in your hairdryer? Is your hairdryer going to work? Absolutely not. So your nervous system is the same thing. So all of your nerves are like the electrical system in your body. So if there's damage on the nerves, whatever's at the end of that nerve, let's say it's your kidney's not going to function well. Or if there's damage on the nerves going to your heart's not going to function well. And when you leave that dysfunction there for many, 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 many years, that leads to disease and early death of cells. That's why taking care of the nervous system is kind of ground zero for making sure that your body's able to heal and function well. So an adjustment when you go into your chiropractor is kind of like flipping that breaker switch and allowing the electricity to get through again. And so there you go. Your nervous system is like the electrical system. So the second one is nutrition. My favorite analogy for this is if I went and I took your, brand new Lamborghini or your Porsche or whatever it is, and I said, oh, you're low on fuel, I'm going to go put some Kool-Aid in your gas tank. What are you going to tell me? Yeah, absolutely not. Stay away from my car. We're not friends anymore, right? And so you can't put Kool-Aid in your gas tank because your car runs off of gasoline. Well, guess what? You can't put CRAP in your body and expect your body to function well. And so your body needs certain nutrients. It needs certain fuel in order to perform, in order to function optimally. And so we have to recognize that we can't just eat for how we're feeling. We can't eat for necessarily what tastes good, what makes us feel satiated. We have to start eating to fuel our body overall. And what I want to teach you over this masterclass is I want to teach you that you can eat good foods that also taste good. You can have cake and pasta and bread. We just have to figure out how to make tiny tweaks so that this is not just a change that lasts maybe a couple months or a season. We want to make long-term change within your nutrition overall. And that's what we're going to go through during this masterclass. So then we have minimizing toxins. And so unfortunately, inflammation is the major cause of chronic disease within our body. And so what happens with toxicity is your cells have what are called a lipid bilayer on the outside of them. And that lipid bilayer is designed to allow nutrients into your cell for your body to use them, provided that you're eating the right nutrients, right? And then you should be able to get all of the toxins outside of your cell. And so this lipid bilayer is kind of like a filter that allows nutrients in and toxins out, okay? Now what happens is when you do something like eat bad fats, or when you have toxicity within your personal care products, or even when you're stressed out, that alters the fluidity of the lipid bilayer. And all of a sudden, instead of being fluid and able to filter in the things that it needs to, it gets rigid. And now it cannot let nutrients in, it cannot let toxins out, and your cells become toxic. Toxic inflamed cells lead to cancer, lead to tumors, lead to autoimmune issues, lead to chronic disease in general. And so we have to learn how to detox our cells. And then we have exercise. A lot of people, they think that exercise is like a trend, or exercise is even an option. It might be an option. I guess you can choose yes or no, whether or not you're going to do it. But understand, exercise is a physiological requirement for you to be healthy, especially in such a sedentary world. You've probably heard sitting is the new smoking. We're so sedentary. We're getting such, we're of course more overweight than we've ever been. 2/3 of Americans are either overweight or obese. And by the way, that sets you up for increased risk factors for 60 chronic illnesses. But the other thing is we're not oxygenating our bodies. And you're going to find out during the cancer week how important oxygen is in your body to fighting cancer. And so just think about our Paleolithic ancestors and the amount of movement they got in their daily lives. And so it's true, people didn't go to gyms, hundreds of years ago. They didn't exist. But the reason that they didn't exist is because they were grabbing buckets and going down to the river and filling the buckets up with water and bringing them back into the village. So they were just getting innate movement in their daily living. We don't get that these days. That's why exercise is so important. Scheduled exercise within your days overall. And then the very last thing is mindset. And so there's 3 processes, or there's 4 things that I really want to touch on today. The first one is the Dickens process. And so the Dickens process, you can Google this. This is a Tony Robbins thing. And we did this class live. And so I'm re-recording this for you guys, just to give you the information here on YouTube because the recording didn't turn out, but we did this process live. So if you guys remember Charles Dickens, the story of the 3 ghosts, past, present, and future. The Dickens process is a visualization. It's kind of a meditation visualization that walks you through what does your health look like? What does your life look like if you do not change your health habits? And so if you think about the current medications you're taking, your current level of activity, the foods that you eat, if you think about your mindset, like if you don't change those things, what does your health look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And so if you want to YouTube the Dickens Process, Tony Robbins, you can find a recording of it and you can walk through that. And you can do it kind of with regards to your health, with your health in mind. As far as your state goes, I love talking about this. Your state is arguably the most important thing you could ever change in your life. So here's what your state is. Have you ever done something, the same activity twice, and you got a different result each time you did it? What was the difference? And chances are the difference was your energy. And so if I go into an interview and I say, hey guys, my name is Dr. Elise, and I think I'd be a really good fit for, your company here. So please consider me. Or if I went in and I said, hi, my name is Dr. Elise, and I'm so excited about your company. I know that you value integrity and loyalty, and I am exactly that person who is going to bring that to the table and hard work. And I'm so excited. I think I'm going to be a great fit for your office. Who's getting the job? And so your state of mind, the energy with which you're approaching a situation matters 100% of the time. Somebody with high energy, somebody who is, generally positive, who's excited, that is the person who is getting the best results. And so every single morning I work on my state. I get up and I affirm myself. I think about, who I want to be, and I declare who I am. And so one of my biggest takeaways that you can probably start doing, I call these the 3 3s. And so what I do every single morning is I get up and I say 3 things that I'm grateful for. Gratitude will change your life. It will put you immediately in a good state. So 3 things I'm grateful for. Okay. The next thing are 3 affirmations of who I am. So I am worthy. I am loved. I am healthy. I am wealthy. Everything I touch turns to gold. I tell myself those 3 things, whatever comes to mind that day. And then the last is 3 action steps that I'm going to take that day to move myself forward. So the 3 3s, 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 affirmations of who I am, and 3 action steps that I'm going to take that day to move myself forward towards my goals. If you can do that, that will prime your state, and that will set you up for a fantastic day, fantastic week, fantastic month, fantastic year. There's a couple of handouts that we gave out. We gave out a handout called the 3 decisions. And so every day you make 3 decisions. You decide if you're going to focus on the past or the present. You decide if you're going to focus on what you have or what you don't have. Okay. The past or the present, what you have or what you don't have. And you also decide if you're going to focus on what you can control or what you cannot control. The happiest person focuses on A, the things they can control, B, the things that they have, and C, they focus on the now. They don't focus on the past. They don't focus on the future. And so if you can shift that in your mind and focus on those 3 things, that is a guaranteed way to increase happiness within your life. The very last thing here is talking about your why. And so as we start to go through the rest of the weeks here, we're going to give you some action steps to walk away with and to start implementing within your life. But I believe to see change, you have to have a big enough why. We're going to give you the how, but the how is just going to be information that sits there unless you have a why. And so I want you to take time after we close out this workshop here in just a couple of minutes. And I want you to think why your health is important to you. Why do you want to change? Is it because you want to be there for your children or your grandchildren? That's a really big why. Is it because you love dancing and you want to be able to dance again, or you love golfing, or you love sewing? Whatever your big why, or you've seen people in your family go through having diabetes and having limbs amputated, or you've seen your mother go through a heart attack, or your father get prostate cancer, and you don't want to be that person and you want to take control of your health and your life. Those are big, big whys. And so develop your why for the action steps that we're going to start taking here over the course of the next several weeks. And so we're going to go ahead and close out this workshop here today. Next week, you are going to learn all about viruses. And so we're going to talk about viruses in the immune system, everything you need to know to have a fearless immune system. If you're somebody who's watching this who did not attend the live class and you want the handouts, all you need to do is reach out to us. You can either join our Facebook group, which is Vitality Family Chiropractic Health Warriors. I'll say that one more time, Vitality Family Chiropractic Health Warriors, or you can email us at vitalityfamilychiropractic@gmail.com, and we will make sure we get you over all of the handouts that we gave to every single person who was at the live class. And we'll do that for the next 6 weeks. We have everything together. That way you can do the homework. So there is homework associated with each week as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time for week 2, all about viruses.